Hey guys, what is going on? Welcome to a long awaited and long delayed full PvP guide for Enhancement Shaman for patch 10.2.5. Again, apologies for the delays, but when life hits you hard, you can't do anything about it, and that's pretty much what happened. Anyway, as usual, I'm going to be covering literally every single thing in this guide with the talents, stats, macros, addons, like everything like I used to do in my previous guides, and you will also have the timestamps, so if you're not interested to watch the whole video or some parts, you can jump to the parts that interest you, so I save you time that way. In case you have not subscribed and wish to support me and my work, please do so, because we are getting so close to 3000 subscribers, which is one of my goals, and I'm going to be very happy. And clicking on the subscribe button is literally 1 second and it's totally free, so if you feel like I deserved it, please do so. And also I'm going to start streaming very soon, somewhere in the second half of February, which I'll be announcing the correct date when the time comes close. So if you were looking to watch some Enhancement Shaman streamer, you'll get one very soon. So, with saying all of that, sit back and relax and let the guide begin. So, as usual in my every guide, I'm going to start things off with the talents. Today I'm gonna be presenting you the best possible build, and right now it is the Lava Lash. And I want you guys to comment down below if you are still playing the Storm build and if you would like to see some smaller guide for that, because I've noticed that quite few of you are still playing the Storm because you like the mechanics and how it works. So if there's a lot of you guys, then sure, I can make the guide for the Storm build as well, but for now I'm just going to be covering the best possible thing and the thing that I'm playing currently. Anyway, here we have the talents. I also decided to switch up on one more thing, because at the beginning of this patch 10.2 there was debate, is it the best to go with the double flame tongue enchants on your weapons or one flame tongue, one wind fury, and I kinda tested them and I saw a lot of similarities, so I was going for the wind fury and the flame tongue. And then after I got them banned, I actually tried to go fully for the double flame tongue, and right now I think it's better. Not by far again, but it is just better, so that's what I recommend. So obviously, starting from the first talent, the Storm Strike, we are not gonna be touching anything at the left side, and we are just going straight for the right, going full into the, Lava Lash, Molten Assault, Hot Hand, Ashen Catalyst, Lashing Flames. Also for the improved Minstrel weapon, Raging Minstrel, which is 2 mandatory talents for this whole expansion, following into Ice Strike, into Hailstorm, Sundering, Swirling Maelstrom. Like I don't really need to say anything much about those talents, because those are just the mandatory talents and those are the best. Feral Lunge, of course, for mobility. I've seen quite few Enhancement Shamans not using it, but in my opinion it's one of the best things, and I wish we could get a second charge of it or something like that, so please Blizzard, do us a favor. Anyway, here was also debate between the Tempest Strikes and the Elemental Blast, but for this lava build, by far the best option is Elemental Blast, but if you're going Storm, then Tempest Strike would be the best option in my opinion. Anyway, Ele Blast does quite good amount of damage, so from that obviously we are going to elemental weapons, and we are going to the main core of this elementalist build, which is Primordial Wave, Splintered Elements, and of course the Elemental Spirits. Now, Feral Spirits did get some nerfs, and the Elemental Spirits through the past couple of patches, and they never got back on track, but for this specific build they are still the best option, and it's just best to keep the constant damage, unlike going let's say, instead of Elemental Spirits for the Deeply Rooted Elements, which is quite gambling. Still a good spell, but it needs some rework for sure. Anyway, you just want to go all the way to the Elemental Spirits, Splintered Elements, and this build is also the best one if you're having the 4 pieces of the tier set, because Primordial Wave is pretty sick with that, because it gives you another pair of Feral Spirits, even though you have yours on cooldown. The Primordial Wave cooldown is also lesser, so you can use it more often and deal a ton of damage to your enemies. So yeah, I would say that this build is very good in my opinion, because we have a lot of big damage dealers. Like when the hot hand proc and the lava lash activates it actually deal a lot of damage. Ice strike is doing pretty fine damage after the buffs, sundering is usual, but the main part here is the elemental blast, which can deal a tons of damage, and of course the primordial wave, which can hit like an up to 100k easily just with that. And then when you boost that lightning bolt, you can do even more crazier damage, which, and yeah, not to mention if we have a hailstorm, the thing when you use the 10 stacks of your Maelstrom, you get the hailstorm, and the next frost shock that you use is gonna be a huge critical, and I've been hitting over 100k with that easily, up to 200, which is again very sick. And unlike with the storm build, you actually have much more big damage dealers here, which makes it better and more viable. So yeah, I'd recommend this for everyone to play. Storm is my favorite as well, and I like those mechanics better, but it's good to switch from time to time because I've been playing it for more than a past year, so this is kind of refreshing to me, and having more big damage dealers is also very nice, and not depending on some procs or waiting cooldowns for the doom wins. So yeah, switching off to the left side of talents, like, I'm not sure if I should even talk about this because this is so diverse with so many different possible combinations, and I inspected hundreds of enhancement shamans, and everyone was using something different, because at the end it's the personal choice. Like, if you feel that you can play good without the hex, then you will go without the hex, and I've seen a lot of shaman going without it, but I'm not the one to do it. A lot of people are using the lightning lasso. I don't think it's that good for the, you know, arena and stuff content. It's good for 1v1, so yeah, you can swap for the duels there, but overall I wouldn't use it. So pretty much the left sides are just my personal choices, what I think that fits best the shaman, you know, so I can do some CC, so I can do some purge, so I can defend myself a little bit, you know, with Earth Elemental, Earth Shield, obviously Astral Bulwark or Plains Traveler. So yeah, in my opinion, I think this is the best option, but a lot of people wouldn't agree with me, so I can just tell you that you can try this and see for yourself if it fits you, and if you don't, then maybe you are doing much better with Thunderous Paw or with the Sensitive Wolf Affinity, but I don't see a much option there. Maybe you're doing better with the Capacitor Totem, but again, it doesn't fit me. So yeah, I won't be going in the details with these three, but you can see yourself and figure out what fits you the most. Anyway, last but not least, we have the PvP talents, and right now for this pack they are pretty limited because we are not using Ride of Lightning, we are not using Sky Fury Totem, in 98% of situations not using the Counter Strike Totem, same as the Unleashed Shield, same as the Seasoned Winds. So the three and the most basic option that I'm always going is obviously Burrow, because that's our fortunate or unfortunate defensive that we got from the Blizzard, and it is actually good because it saved me from a lot of situations, and when I get from the underground I interrupt the cast, I deal some good amount of damage, so I'm very happy with the talent. Cooldown could be a little bit smaller, like for 30 seconds, but it's fine, so it's always a must. Grounding Totem is always a must, and the only time I switch off from the Grounding Totem is when I'm going against the hard melees, against the healer that is not a druid or someone that will do some hard CC on us, so I go for the Counter Strike and pray for them to not destroy it and to kill themselves. But yeah, grounding is always a must, even if you are in arena or battleground or 1v1, it's always a must. And the thing that there is also one of my favorite is Shamanism, because it allows us to use the heroism in arenas and literally everywhere. Its cooldown is 1 minute, but it gives only 20% haste to you and your target, so it's very good for the burst with a low cooldown. So again, it's a must in my opinion. So now, if you are in those situations where you don't need to use grounding and you don't want to use Counter-Strike as well, I would recommend to go for the static field totem, because it's a very good one for the CC or from keeping the enemies away from the certain amount of time, so you can heal yourself or your partner can heal yourself. So yeah, that's pretty much. I am very sad to not including the Storm Weaver, like we were asking for this for a lot of years and Blizzard has finally decided to give us, but they butchered it so much with the nerfs, so it's literally useless and whoever uses it just wastes a talent spot because it's so bad. And I'm very sad about it because it's such a good idea, such a good potential as something that Enhancement Shaman needs, but yet we are not still ready for that, I guess. So yeah, I guess that has covered the talents. Again, if you have some questions, feel free to comment down below. I'm answering every single one of them. So by saying all of that, let's just jump into the next segment. So after the talents, next thing on the menu is a stat priority, and it's quite simple for this one. So obviously I don't need to mention versatility because it's the PvP stats, is the main thing, and you won't have a PvP item without versatility. So number one priority that you should go for is mastery, because it's so good and so healthy for the elementalist build and for all those spells that you have. Second one that you wanna build up just a little bit is a haste, because Enhancement Shaman always needs some haste. And the last and not that much important is a critical strike. And yeah, that's it pretty much about the talents. Just go nuts on the mastery and you'll be very good. So after the stat priority, we are here on the tier set pieces priority. So the four best pieces for the tier set are the shoulders, chest, legs and hands. And for the head, I've seen a lot of shamans that are crafting something and, you know, going for the mastery, versa, haste, and, you know, mixing everything up. But in my opinion, and in opinion of someone who hates this crafting system and hates to be bugged about that, I'm just going for the Gladiator's Chain Helm, which gives you mastery and versa, which is doing quite fine and quite good, and this is the best possible option. And if you are playing the Lavalash build, which you should because it's best, this set fits it the most, so you want to go for the four pieces as soon as you can, as quick as you can, because it's a very good. As you can see, the two pieces of set says Primordial Wave and the Lightning Feral Spirit that increases your nature damage dealt for 20% for 15 seconds, which is already sick, and boosts your Primordial Wave. I mean the spirits that are summoned by the Primordial Wave. And the four set pieces says summoning a feral spirit reduces the cooldown of your Primordial Wave by 7 seconds. So every time that you play something, if you wanna start attacking someone hard, always open up with the Primordial Wave, and after that use your feral spirits. Not only that you will have much more feral spirits on the field, dealing much more damage to your enemies, but the cooldown for the Primordial Wave will be 7 seconds less, which makes it 38, which is literally nothing. Like you will have it by the time you lower that person and maybe finishing him in the arena or whatever the content you are playing. So it's actually a very cool tier set piece, and I actually like it much more than the second season and probably than the first season as well. So yeah, it's a must and you should go for it, and that's the best option. Anyway, on to the next segment. So after the tier set pieces, I'm going to go through the rest of the gear, through the gems and through the enchants, and by saying all of that, we have concluded the character build-up. Anyway, had already mentioned, we are straight onto the neck. I'm going here for the mastery one, and of course you want to get those enchants that give you 3 gem slots. And the best option for the gems, in my opinion, is this 70 mastery plus 33 versatility, just to give you a little bit more toughness, but again to give you much more mastery so you can deal much more damage. Next one is the cloak, actually the last item that I need to have the full gladiators chain set, and I'll have it very soon. And for the cloak I decided to go for a haste, because again I said the haste is a third, or should I say second most important stat, and you should maintain it a little bit, so you will see a few items here for the haste, but mainly I'm going for the mastery, and that should be your goal as well. And here the best option in my opinion for the enchant is homebound speed, but if you feel something different, feel free to go for it. About the chest, best possible enchant that you can have is accelerated agility, so just go for it and you won't be making any mistake. For the wrist I decided to go for the mastery one, and enchant for the again 200 speed. Weapons it's, I should say it's quite, I wanted to say it's quite simple, but you actually have this option to buy for the blood tokens, and you actually have the one for the conquest. For now I think this is the best option because it gives you versa and mastery, and it's just a few less item level in the PvP when you enter, so it's really not a big difference, but at the end it's a personal choice which stat you wanna chase, and here I feel the best with the mastery. And on the both weapons I use the Sophic Devotion, so that's really the best enchants in my opinion, so you should go for it. Hands, don't have to say anything. For the waist I also decided to go for that little bit haste margin, so that's it pretty much. For the legs you wanna go for the enchant that gives you 177 agility / strength plus 131 stamina, which is the best enchant that you can get for the legs. For the boots, the mandatory one is this crafted Infurious Boots of Reprieve, because it just have such a cool and a good PvP effect, and it's literally mandatory, and if you are good, if you are any PvPer, you should just go for it. And the enchant that follows that is plain Stunner's Breeze, which is again best in my opinion. So I'm moving on to fingers. Not much option here, as pretty much in the past few years and expansions. One must be for haste, another must be for mastery. Of course you can go for critical if you feel like that, but in this build where the mastery is main and you need a little bit haste, this is actually the perfect combo. For the enchants, as you can see, I went for 82 mastery on both, and for the gem again 70 mastery plus 33 versatility. And last but not least we have a trinkets. Obviously medallion, always a must, always a main thing, but the second one is again very personal choice. In my opinion, since we are having a troubles with the defensives and surviving and stuff, this gladiator's emblem is, in my opinion, best choice, because it actually saved me from a lot of times in situations where I would be dead, but I used it and it healed me for quite good amount of health. And if you don't want to go for that, then just go for the blue mask with the damage, and you will also make no mistake. Like, this is one of the most personal choices, because if you feel like you can survive and you can do well without that, then sure, go for the damage, it's always the best option. But in my case, where I don't feel that sure that I can survive everything and I need every single possible defensive thing, I will always be going for this trinket until something changes. So yeah, again, in my opinion, best option, but if you feel different, just go for the damaging one and you won't be making any big mistake. Anyway, that, and yeah, one more thing. When you're enchanting your weapons with the flame tongue, when you apply the first one, you won't be able to apply the second one because it will always spam the same weapon. Then you just swap the spots of the weapon, apply it again, and as you can see we have both on the 60 minutes, so in case you didn't know that, now you know. Anyway, off to the next thing. So the last two segments that we still have are quite boring for me to do, because in every guide they're literally the same, but I still feel like obligation to talk about it, because there is always some new people that are curious about my addons, macros and everything like that. So again, I will be covering it just a little bit different style than in the previous guides. So I'm gonna be listing all those useful add-ons that I recommend you, that I'm using personally, and they'll be here on the screen, and I will just talk about them, what they do. So first one that I'm using is Ability Team Tracker. It's an add-on that tracks cooldowns of your party members. Again, very useful in arenas, so you can easier use your CC, or when your partners are using the burst, you can use it as well, so you can kill your enemies easier. Nothing much to say there. The next one is Battleground Enemies. This one is not that much for arena or duels or anything like that, but it's mostly for the battlegrounds, as you can read and hear in the title, and it allows you to track both your groups with much better and cooler frames than those that we have in the game. And I'm not using anything to track my group, I'm using just to track the enemy group, which is very useful because that way you can easier target the flag carrier and pretty much anyone on the map if he's there. And it's the mostly useful in the rated battlegrounds, which I don't recommend to go in without that, and it's also good for battleground blitz, so it's gonna be a fun when it becomes a thing. The next one is a big debuffs, which increases the debuff size of crowd control effects on the Blizzard ready frames. Pretty simple one, the size is bigger so you can notice it better, and also very good and useful one, I recommend. Next one, again not that much important, which is the capping, which is pretty much showing you the battleground timers, when it's going to start, to finish, and other PP features such when the base is going to be taken, or when the flag is going to be resetted and stuff like that. So again, very useful one for the battlegrounds, and yeah, it even shows you the timer in arena, but it doesn't change or help you with anything. The next one that I also get oftenly asked is the classic numbers, which is the style of the damage that is popping on my screen, which is vanilla style damage. So if you like what you see, then feel free to use that. It's a very personal choice and a talent. Also, another very useful is fly plate buffs, which shows buffs / debuffs on the nameplate, which again I get so many times asked in the comments, so here you are, guys. That and the big debuffs are like a game changer for me, and two of my favorite add-ons for sure. And last but not least, we have a weak auras, which are these things that you can see in the center of my screen, which I have for the feral spirits, for the hailstorm, and for the Millstorm weapon stacks, and for the doom winds when I'm playing the storm build. And unfortunately, weak auras are a little bit complicated to just send and share like that, so whoever wants weak auras like I have, feel free to DM me on my Discord. You have the link down in the description of my server, and you can actually find the full list of the add-ons there, so you can just click and download them yourself, like you don't even have to search for them. The same goes for the macros and everything, so again, if you're curious about all of that, just join my Discord, and that's it pretty much. So macros are actually a very important thing, especially if you're playing arena, because there is a quite thing that you need macros, so you have to be clicking like a noob on the sides. So the two most important macros in my opinion are the focus for the wind share and focus for the hex, because that way I mainly put the healer, because in 98% of situations in arena you won't be going for the healer, so we're going for the hard CC for them. So without even clicking on him, without worrying about him, without applying anything on him, I can simply interrupt him or hex him and they wouldn't notice. And those are the two of my favorite macros and two of most useful macros. Now you have the macro for the Earthbind Totem, which you pretty much just set your mouse cursor wherever you want, just click that button and it will apply there. And in other case, when you click that button, you will have a big green screen, so you have again to click with the mouse, which is just a waste of time. And like this, you see the guy there, okay, press the button, he's rooted, okay, you're going for the next one. Pretty pretty simple and very useful, so I recommend that to everyone. And not only for the Earthbind totem, but for the static field totem as well, it's pretty much the same. I also have the macro for the heroism, where I put the player name when I'm playing arena constantly with them, and just press that button, and without clicking on him I apply heroism on both him and myself, which is also a very good thing. I also have for the healing surge, which I'm not using anymore because I'm not just using healing spells in arena ever, like maybe just in a few situations when it's critical, when my healer is in CC and I really don't want to die, but in most of situations I'm never using it, so that's just how I go with that. Same goes with the purge, so you can purge the target that is on focus. So let's say it's priest, he used power infusion, you want to purge that, but you don't want to chase him or click on him. Well, you can just use this purge add-on and purge him without literally anything. So yeah, again, same with the add-ons. You have all my macros listed in my Discord server, so you can just go there and copy them, and yeah, you're good to go. So the last thing that I usually end up my PvP guide video is with the arena combos and tips and tricks, but this time I decided not to do that because I've done it for the past 3 guides, and since then literally nothing has changed and I don't really see a point of spamming myself. But for those of you that are still interested to hear that and to see, or if you're new to Enhancement Shaman, I will leave the link down in the description to the video where I explained that, and you even have the timestamps on that video, so you can just jump straight to the arena combos, to the tips and tricks if you are interested to that, and if you're not, then it's all good. And yeah, I just wanted to clarify that. Anyway, by saying all of that, we have come to an end of this video, and I really hope that you found this guide helpful and, you know, useful. And in case you did that, well, I would ask you to please subscribe and like this video, because we are trying to reach the certain goal, the 3000 subscribers, before the end of the February, and it is one of my goals. And also before the end of February I'm gonna be start streaming, so feel free to watch me. I will announce that, of course, and give the correct date and time, so no worries. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, found this guide helpful, and see you in the next one.